Welcome to the most amazing event ever. Actually, I wanted to play some music to introduce us today. So, as we come in to the SESACE Hispanic Heritage Month and all things great, let us get some music in our lives just to kind of get the flow, get the energy and blood flowing here. So, we have a very special guest today. Her name is Silvia. I'm going to let Deanna introduce her. But my name is Patrick Pac-Man Perez. You are tuned in to Life and In Between. Let me get a little bit more of this real quick. This is a jam. This is a jam. All I ever wanted. And introducing your host, Deanna Lebu.
Hello, everyone. This is Diana Gonzalez Lebub, and it is such a great honor to have this guest coming on. It's a person that I have met from a previous employer, and we want to talk about today about when culture becomes connection, the power of employee-led communities, how those communities are so essential in the workplace and even in our personal lives. How one leader's passion, from the passion that she had for her heritage, transformed the workplace into a place of pride, celebration, and connection. And it is such a great honor to introduce Silvia Kraemer.
Woo! Thank you, Diana. I appreciate that introduction.
So Silvia, tell us a little bit about you before we just start diving in and picking your brain and asking all the million and one questions. Just tell us a little bit about your background and then about your role in leadership in the in the workplace as a DEI and ERGs,
Well, as you know, I have been in technology for more than 25 years. That has been my passion for all of these years. And really, getting involved with technology has been more about making a difference on the people's lives, right? On their jobs, and also, helping our culture, helping them to understand, our values. I migrated from Mexico, over 30 years ago. And, like all of us, right, it has been difficult at the beginning to adjust and to understand the culture and learn the language. So I went through all of those things. And now I think it's time for me to give back to our community. It's time for me to help each other and do the best that I can to make a difference on people's lives. So that has been my mission for the last, 20 years, and I will continue doing it. As helping our community, helping our kids. That's my goal in life.
It's wonderful. I'm going to throw one first question out there, and then I'm going to let Patrick take over the mic. But my very first question that I want to ask, yes, my very first question is, Sylvia, what inspired you to take on this leadership role and really work with like getting to ERGs? What was like your inspiration, or was there something that happened or multiple things in your life that made you say, I want to do this?
As you know, working for a large company like McKesson, it was a great experience, right? And looking at the quality of our leadership within the company and the companies that I have worked with before, there is so much talent with us. And there is in our community, there is so much talent that that people need to know about. And I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be part of that, management team that can share their experiences, their ideas, and being part of an ERG gave me that opportunity, gave me the opportunity to share my background, to share, what I have learned through all of these years and help each other, help our community. Because like I said before, there is so much talent in our community that I want to make sure that, our kids and our community just flourish in all the areas because, as you know, we are impacting every areas of the community in politics, in education, in science, in culture, everywhere. So that was my motivation to join an ERG.
Perfect. And for those that don't know, if our listeners don't know, and they're wondering, what is ERG? What does that stand for? It's an employee resource groups. It's basically a group where employees that work for a company that get together and celebrate their culture, their heritage, their background, and they bring to light where voices are sometimes silent, and it brings community together into the workplace, a safe place. I don't know, Patrick, do you have any questions or anything that you kind of want to dive into and ask?
Yeah,
Or
so many good things here. I'm super. And so, what was the name of the ERG that you were part of?
So it was part of Palma ERG, which is the Professional Associations of Latinos at McKesson. So as you know, McKesson is a large pharmaceutical distributor, is one of the largest in the country. And that organization had, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Diana, but I think there was about 600 members when I was there. So as you can imagine, a lot of people part of that ERG, and a lot of things came out of that group, which is just amazing. You know, people helping each other, people sharing new ideas, new ways of approach, you know, challenges in life. So yeah, it was a great community.
And that, I think that's the part. It's the community, because when you get into these big corporations, people could just fall in and just be a number floating around. But these
Mhm.
ERGs, employee resource groups, shine the light on the individual, and more importantly, on the cultural capital that they bring in. Because there was several different ERGs. Could y'all kind of shoot off some of those? Because it was like different ones for different communities.
yeah, there was like with, for example, and I would say each company is a little bit different, but in for particular this company, it had 11 ERGs. And I've worked in the past where, for example, another company, they literally had over 40 different ones.
Wow.
So it all depends. So in this particular company, I mean, we had Palma, which was where I met Sylvia, and Sylvia was an amazing leader, and we're going to dive into some of the stuff that she did. But you also had that was our LGBTQ plus community, which was part of and we also had Asian and Pacific Islanders. So it encompassed an array of different individuals. We had the military for the veterans, um, and we also had. I'm trying to go back and Sylvia, if you can remind me a few others, because I'm kind of like drawing a blank right now.
I think it was the indigenous
Yeah,
Native
the indigenous,
American.
that was Unity. It was Unity. We also had the MMRG was for the military. We also had Palma. We also had ARC. ARC was actually really a nice compass group, which was a nice ERG because people were able to join in and everyone was welcome. It didn't matter. It was just a place for everyone to be a part of. And that was a wonderful
Mhm.
group. But there were a total of 11 of them, 11 amazing ones. And I think that as there were many leaders, Sylvia was one that actually made an impact. And she actually, one event that really stood out, and I'm not going to spoil it. I want you to talk about one event that you put together. Well, you put a lot of events, but there was one particular event, Sylvia, that you did that was extraordinary. And I think it was amazing and very impactful within the company. Can you talk a little bit and expand on it?
Yeah, so I was responsible for professional development within the Palma organization, the ERG, and my goal was to, help our members to have access, to new information, either to improve their professional development or to, help them somehow to get new knowledge. So like I said before, my goal was to help our community to learn more. And I started talking to multiple speakers that wanted to see if they wanted to come and talk to our members. And I came across a Harvard professor. His name is Michael W. Watkins. He is a leader in transformational change. He actually lives in Switzerland now. He is teaching over there in the University of Switzerland. And I talked to when the first time I talked to him, he really impressed me because of his background and all the books that he has out there. So I invite him to, speak for our ERG, and it was surprised to me that he actually wanted to come and talk to us. And we didn't pay him any money. I mean, you look at this person, he's a real speaker from Harvard, and he said, yeah, I'll be happy to join your group and talk to your ERG, and he did. As a result, there were more than 1,000 people that joined that
Wow.
meeting, and he talked about his books and how to transition from one job to another. And I think it was a great experience. I got an amazing feedback from people, and he was willing to actually do another review of his books. And it's because he has a passion for helping people, just like we do, right? So finding people in the community that are so knowledgeable, that had these they're just normal people, right? Even though they're so knowledgeable and they just want to help the community, was a great experience. So we brought him on board, and like I said before, it was just a very rewarding opportunity to share knowledge with our community. And I feel that sometimes the Hispanic community don't have access to all of these information, right? And my goal was to make sure that we brought people, high caliber people, that we can learn something from, that we can learn from their experiences, from their challenges, so that we can become better. That's we're a culture of improvement or progress, no perfection necessarily, right? But we're just trying to become better every time.
That's good. And I wanna try to throw this in there too. So this would kind of have, I guess, a trickle up effect, because you're empowering the employees where they are, bringing in speakers. That in turn will help boost, engagement for the company. And I only because I have so many people in my sphere, social media, who would say, well, all of these kind of programs are the problem because y'all are causing division. It's, why do we have to separate the culture and this, like the everything that's happened from the administration saying, DEI, no more. This is we just need to have merit-based leadership, blah, blah, blah. But from what you're saying, that this empowerment happens, and what would you say to those people that would say, like, yeah, ERGs, DEI, we don't need that, but the community that y'all are building, the relationships, the knowledge that's shared, why is that important for the companies, and why are so many companies kind of like backing off now, from a lot of this stuff?
I think it is important to provide access to knowledge and information to our community, because, like you said, we're empowering them to have opportunities just like everybody else, right? Sometimes as Hispanics, we think that we're limited on the number of opportunities that are out there for us. And that's not really true, because, we can have access to the same information, to the same knowledge. We just got to continue trying and making sure that we expose ourselves to whatever information that we need to grow in our careers. And sometimes we have the tendency to think, right, especially in our culture, that we're limited, that that our potential is limited, because for whatever cultural reasons we think, well, my parents didn't go to school, or I just I'm just gonna do this little job because there is not opportunities for me. My role and within the ERG was to tell our community, you can achieve anything you want, right? Because you do have the potential. There are opportunities for you. You just have to find them. And
Mm.
there is progress, right, in what you do. Just canalize that energy to whatever you want to achieve. And here is, a little bit of knowledge that can help you to get there. Like, when we talked to Michael Watkins, he was teaching people how to transition from one job to another, and the plan that you need to put together to get there, right? That the opportunities are out there, but we just need to put together a plan and the steps to get us there. And having that, a strategy, that thinking process where we are start looking at, okay, so if I want to, change my job, I want to move into management, what is the plan that I can put together to get there? What are the things that I need to improve in my career? What are the things that I need to expose myself to so that I can achieve my goals? And that's what, pretty much Michael talked about. And with the goal of saying, yes, you can do it. We're a culture of progress, not necessarily perfection. And sometimes we try to be perfect in everything that we do. And if it is not perfect, then we tend to give up, right? Oh, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. I'm just going to give up. No, every step that we take towards improving ourselves, improving our careers, reaching our goals, take us there eventually.
Right. And
Nice.
I love that. And I just kind of wanted to piggyback off of what you have said, because you really made some really great points on a lot of things, Sylvia. One of the things that I kind of also wanted to just kind of circle around is, for those that really don't know, that the employee resource groups is open to everybody. It's not just selective, like only Latinos can join that. It is open to everyone to join a lot of this. Now, because it is high dense like Latinos, or for the example, Asian Pacific, because it's something, a common ground where they can meet and talk about and all that. However, it's open to everybody. And the importance of the ERGs is also bringing that cultural awareness and to other groups that haven't been exposed to it.
Mm.
When you begin to see and say, oh my gosh, like I love the fact of just using as I think, which is the common ground that everybody loves, is food. I love the fact that when people come, they like, I love those enchiladas, I love the los tamales, and becoming aware of that, and noticing that the dynamics of what the culture is. And I think many times that intermingling brings that, also that common ground of learning from each other.
Mhm.
I know when we come from the Latino background, I was taught, work hard, you work hard and pay your dues and you will be rewarded. And the reality is, it isn't like that. How many
Yeah,
times
you
you're
need
sitting there
to.
working and you're
Yeah.
working hard and you're doing your job? I'm going to be noticed. I'm going to be noticed. And you don't get noticed. And so when you get exposed to other different dynamics of different cultures or different styles of you begin to understand, oh, I understand now, Diana. I understand Sylvia, why she's not vocal, because of the upbringing is, no, mija, you have to stay quiet. You wait your turn to speak, because it's that cultural upbringing. Oh, you wait your, like they'll
Mhm.
notice your outstanding work. And no, unfortunately, it's not that way, but it's the way we were brought up. So as we begin, and this is the importance of that, because as we begin to network and have different people and say, well, have you ever thought about doing this differently? And so, as when Sylvia mentioned, bringing this professor that came in, this Harvard professor, talking about, think about your next step. How do you do this? I never thought about that. I thought I'll be speaking out of place, or maybe I thought this was the wrong thing. I was waiting to be tapped on the shoulder. And sometimes you just cannot wait to be tapped in the shoulder. Sometimes you have to go into someone's face and say, hey, this is
Mhm.
me. This is what I can contribute and bring to the table. So, but I love the fact that Sylvia talked about bringing this professor in and touching on that. So I just kind of wanted to piggyback off and add to that, her sazon, her flavor, what she just said, and add to that. And that was a
It's
really
taking
great.
up space. That I think that's a word that I've heard Rachel say. Like you got to take up space because in corporate, and I've been an entrepreneur, but same thing. You have to kind of let people know, like, here's what I can bring. Here's who I am. Uh, and this is why from my male man side over here, it's like the people who need to hear this stuff probably aren't the people who listen to this podcast, or probably the ones who aren't engaged in the ERGs. They're going to go play golf instead or something. And that's kind of the nerve-wracking thing, is that we know this. but the people that you're trying to show, look, I can do this, are the ones that are like, they come from their own sphere, their own echo chamber of like, well, yeah, you're good. You're our local diversity hire, which I don't want to say this stuff, but it only because all the stuff going on right now, it's like, when will we get to the part where having a female president isn't different, like in Mexico with the president right now? It's like, yeah, look, everybody else, but no, here in America, it's got to be the white male. This is leadership, and it's like, come on, this is it. That's my soapbox. Sorry, I'm getting on the soapbox, but
That's
it's
okay.
take up space. Y'all have just as much leadership. I think I was fortunate enough to serve under so many strong female leaders who call the shots, but can also hold their own, but also bring so much to the table, where it's like the only reason they're not at the top is because there's systems in place that want to keep them where they are. And so I think that's why ERGs and I'll say, Sylvia, I learned about ERGs right prior to when I went to McKesson as a speaker, because I had worked in leadership and type events. But then I was like, these ERGs are so good, because students, they have their groups, FCCLA, Student Council, Trio, that help. But then you get into the professional sphere, and it's
Yeah.
what do they
And I
have?
think ERGs give you a sense of belonging, right? It
Yes.
gives you the sense of, oh, sometimes when you work in corporate America, especially in these huge corporations, you are trying to figure out a place where you can fit in, and that's what the ERG brings to you. Here is your culture, here is
Mhm.
where you can belong, and where you can make a difference, and where you can talk about your experiences. Because in our culture, sometimes we have been thought, no, you don't talk too much, you wait for your turn, you stay quiet. Well, yes and no. I think we are giving empowerment, like in the ERG sessions that we had, to speak about your skills, to say, hey, I'm ready for the next role, I'm ready for the next opportunity, and here are the
Mhm.
things that I have done and the plan that I have put together to get there. And I think when you approach new opportunities, new challenges, letting people know that you are prepared, that you have been working hard to get there, and you speak up and you talk about your skills. Sometimes we don't like to brag about what we know and what we do, but sometimes you have to do it. You have to talk about, here are my accomplishments and the things that I have done and the things that I have worked hard on, and I'm capable to do, all of these things that sometimes we don't talk about. So empowering, giving that empowerment, and I think that's what the ERG did for me and for other members, right? Saying, hey, I have worked hard, and not because I am a female, not because I am Hispanic, I want to be considered for these opportunities that are available to everyone,
Mhm.
right? And be judged because of my talent, my creativity, the things that I can contribute with, not so much because of my culture.
Right. Be the
So
diversity hire, as
And
people say,
yeah.
oh, we're going to hire, but based on your skill sets of your knowledge. I love that. One thing that you mentioned, and I think this is something that I still struggle with, and and I think many women of color tend to struggle with, that come from different backgrounds, not necessarily Latinas, but also can be from Middle Eastern, from Asian, or the fact that we have amazing skill sets, that we are talented in so many areas, but speaking up and saying, I could do this. I'm talented in this. I mean, I found myself in a room full of leaders, and I would hear everyone talking about all these strategies and all these things, and I found myself muted. Like I could not
Mm.
speak up and be vocal about it. And it's so difficult because of that ingrained thing that's within us, and or for the first time even speaking up and say maybe I'll sound uneducated or stupid or have those misconceptions, those thoughts, those negative thoughts coming in. And I think ERGs that because you actually go into a safe platform where it's a safe space, you can practice these things. You can learn to become leaders. You can practice on things that you're not normally capable. But my question to you, Sylvia, and summing it up, um, have you, and I'm still struggling, and I think this is why I'm doing this podcast, using my voice to be louder, to show that I have certain skills. Have you been able to overcome that? How do you say these are my skill sets without feeling that, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Going beyond what you were taught as a child, How do you go up against it? Feels so uncomfortable.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from, right? Because that happens a lot in our culture. We have these, I think, I don't know if it is coming from, the time that we were conquered. Many of the Latin American countries were conquered by Spain, and there was always this oppression in the culture, right? Where you just do this thing and you don't talk, you don't speak up. And I think we have to make sure that, like I said before, we communicate our message, who we are and where we're coming from. And that confidence that you gain, it comes from preparation. It
Mm,
comes
Mm.
from being ready for the opportunity when the opportunity comes to you, right? It comes from believing in yourself, believing that you can do and accomplish anything you want if you work hard for it. So that's where my confidence comes from. On believing in myself and believing on all the things that I have done, that I have accomplished, that I don't have to compete with anyone to
I love that.
be myself. I don't
mm,
have to compare myself to anyone because I know what I'm worth, because
Oof.
I
Oh.
know who I am, because
Mhm.
I know what I have learned through all of these years and that I am capable to make a difference. And when I set
Mhm.
up my mind to do something, I know I can do it and I know that I can do it as good as anybody else.
Mm.
But it comes from preparation. It comes from learning new things every day. It comes from having a passion to learn and to make the best of yourself, not to compare to others, not to be better than others, to make the best version of yourself. And I think when you reach that level, when you reach the level of being yourself, believing in yourself, making the best out of this opportunity that life has given you, that's when you become across as knowledgeable and as confident as you want, right? So I think I encourage everyone when I go and talk to the schools and talk to the little kids, I always tell them that believe in yourself. There is a world of opportunities for you out there. There are a lot of things that you can accomplish in life if you stay in a school, if you prepare yourself for the right opportunity. Keep working hard. Keep staying in school. You know, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, to me, it's a fortune that there is always new things to learn. There is always new opportunities to improve yourself every day. And when you develop that passion for learning, you just have to wait for the opportunity to come to you
mhm.
because opportunities come to you once you are once you are prepared because you are there just waiting for the opportunity to come.
I
Boom.
love that.
Mic drop.
Yes.
Mic drop.
Yes. That is wonderful. I love that. And spinning off of opportunities, what are your thoughts on creating your own opportunities? What about that? I mean, like, I think sometimes and I love the fact that yes, you are so right about opportunities coming. And then the flip side, what about like creating our opportunities? Like, have you ever found yourself that you created your own opportunity?
Absolutely, absolutely. You create your own destiny, right? You work hard towards the things that you want to do. And I think that's what I was talking about before, having a plan. Having a plan. Come up with a plan. it doesn't have to be perfect because that's an evolving plan that you are adjusting and changing and being flexible, and you change it every day. But it's a progress, right? Every day when you learn something new, when you push yourself, because it's about pushing yourself to the things that you are afraid of. Sometimes you think,
Mm.
oh, I don't think I can do that. But if you push yourself a little bit and say, yeah, I'm gonna try, and it might not come out perfect, it might not be 100% right, but I'm gonna try. I think it's about trying
Mhm.
and creating your own destiny and your own opportunities. And it doesn't matter how many times you fail, it's about trying and creating progress for yourself.
So good.
I can tell you, I can tell you about all my failures that I have had through the last 30 years, right? But all of those things prepare you to be the person that you are today. And when you fail, you have to get up, pick yourself up, and then keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, because eventually, you know, all of those failures makes you perfect, or makes you reaching or getting closer to perfection. You're learning from new things. So the important thing is to learn from your mistakes, to learn from our failures. It's very important to do that, and then continue creating progress for yourself.
Love that. I love that.
That's so good.
That
So
is
good.
so good. And it's something that people need to hear and remind
Mhm.
themselves, because when they get stuck in that failure mode and they don't realize that's growth. When you
Mhm.
fail, you're growing, and all that. I did want to ask you, because since we're talking about failures and kind of you tapped into that, but I want to kind of just ask you, looking back, and you talked about looking back on all your failures, and it helped you develop the woman that you are today, the professional career woman that you are. What are you most proud of at this point that you have accomplished that you can look back on?
I'm really proud of never giving up. I'm not, I can tell you a number of times where I have said, I think this is it. But then I think it again. I'm like, no, it didn't work out this way. I'm gonna find another way to do it. I'm gonna find another way, and I'm gonna find another way. And I'm gonna explore another way. And every time that you explore a new way to approach an issue,
Mm.
you are learning something new, and you are learning about your skills and your confidence that you are capable of accomplishing a lot of things without even realizing it, right? So anyone, and I always tell people this, anyone can achieve what I have done. Anyone can, come from Mexico without learning, without knowing the language, without knowing English, just like I did, right? I crossed the border and I didn't know any English. But my dream was to come here and get a better education, move into management, okay, improve my career. So I always tell people, if you go to move to another country, learn the language, learn to communicate, become just like them. And as long as you do that, as you always continue learning, improving yourself, and find opportunities for yourself and believing in yourself, then sometimes opportunities just come to you, like it happened to me.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
That is, do you have a question, Patrick? Because I have one in
Oh
mind.
yeah, no, this is you're feeding my soul right now too. So
Uh,
this is so
okay.
good. And so what would you want to say to the people out there that, because we could be very risk adverse, and whether that's in relationships, you don't want to go through another breakup, through starting a business. I have a lot of friends that are leaving the corporate realm to try to launch their own business at 40 years old. And you're talking about that preparation, preparing, being ready. So, what would just be your top three little nuggets you'll give to those people that might want to try something different, step out there, but they're just so afraid of that failure?
Yeah, don't be afraid of failure. Failure makes you grow and makes you improve. And don't look at failure as something that you cannot change, that you cannot turn around. Failure makes you strong, give you the strength to continue moving forward,
Mm.
to continue, approaching things in a different way. So actually do the things that you are afraid of. If you're afraid of public speaking, just get in front of people and speak more,
That's right.
right? If you're afraid of heights, go on the top of building and look it down, and do that little by little, right? Maybe you will speak up in front of people for 10 minutes, and that gives you the confidence to speak longer maybe next time, right? I think by doing things that you are afraid of, that's how you can overcome, you know, just losing that fear and
Mm.
not being scared about, whatever you're afraid of. I think you have to push yourself, and a lot of people don't do that. I talk to my whole family, and I always tell them, you gotta continue pushing yourself. You gotta continue finding ways to do things different. If they don't work this way, let's try different. If I need to get more education to achieve what I want to do, pues let's do it. My mom used to say, if you're going to be alive for the next 10 years, well, why don't you just make the best out of it? Or for whatever time you think you're still going to be alive, you're still going to be here in this world. So get in the program, get the education, go to school. But it only takes, it's going to take me 4 years to get a degree. Yeah, but you're still going to be alive in 4 years.
Hmm.
So make the best of out of that time.
I like it.
And I
Don't just
learned
let
that from
life
my
happen
mother.
to you.
Right. I mean, it's just gonna happen. Just invest the time. Don't think about, oh, I have to study for 4 years and then it's gonna take me another 3 years to get a master's, and then, oh, I'm just not gonna do it. No, you're still gonna be around. So make the
Yeah.
best out of this time.
And I want to ask this. What would you say has been the biggest failure or challenge that you rose from? The biggest setback that you had to pull yourself up and get through? And even if it was coming from Mexico and learning English, I mean, that's huge. That's
Right. I mean, yeah, coming from Mexico and not being able to communicate and not being able to tell people, hey, I'm here. I have degree, and I went to school in Mexico, and I'm worth something, right? Not being able to say that because I wasn't ready. So I think that was one of the biggest challenge that I had to overcome. But it was more a fight against me versus the rest of the world,
mm,
right?
boom. Whoa.
It's
Say that
it's
again. Say that again. That is so
yes,
good.
it's a fight. It's a competition with yourself, right? Not with the rest of the world. Because the
Wow.
rest of the world doesn't care if you know English, you don't know English. Nobody cares. It's more about believing in yourself. It's more about having the confidence to know that you are able to learn a second language, that you are able to achieve what you have set up in your mind, because you never give up, because you
Mm,
always continue trying.
I
So
like
it's
it.
more a fight
Yeah.
against yourself, right? That with the rest of the world. It's more about telling yourself and talking to that, you know, voice in your head that is telling you,
Hmm.
oh, I don't think you can do it. I think you just gotta stop. I think you just have to give up. Talking to yourself and saying, no, I can continue trying. I'm going to continue giving 100% on everything that I do, and something is gonna come out of that. And if that doesn't work, well, I try something else. So I try something
Yeah.
else. So I'll try this, or I'll try that. Believing in yourself. I think
So good.
that's the best thing that I have learned during all of these years. Continue believing in yourself, continue improving.
Boom.
That's
Mic
what
drop.
has
And
worked
that's
for me.
Yeah.
yes. No, this is yeah, this is so good. And there was another speaker I've listened to. He would say you can have more because you can become more. And we become more when we learn more and fail more and experience more and create more. But it takes somebody doing something different. That's what it comes down to. It. You got to do something different, change it, surround yourself with your community, your ERG, and believe in yourself. Like, psh, I'm like, this is good.
You know, there are so many things that we cannot control. I cannot control corporate America. I cannot control companies laying off thousands of people. I have gone through so many layoffs during the time that I have been here, during the 35 years that I have lived in the United States. You know, the economy changes, technology changes, corporate structure changes. So that's going to have an impact in your life, right? And yeah, companies laid off and you lose your job. But take that as an opportunity that when one door closes, another one is going to open.
Yes.
And I cannot control what other people do. I cannot control what corporate America is going to do for the next, 20 years, but I can control what I can do for myself. I can control what I decide to spend my time on, right? I could be watching Netflix the entire day, watching movies, or spending 3 hours on my phone in social media, or I could take a class or take a AI, artificial intelligence class, to learn more about something that I'm passionate about. So we have choices, and we can make a difference in our life.
I
So
love
good.
that.
Yes,
I love
so
that.
good.
That is so good. So tell me, because I have found myself, and I know right now there is someone out there curled up in bed watching that Netflix and binge watching whatever, and they can't seem to get past that moment, and they're stuck. They're just stuck.
Mm.
And it's hard because I know that I've been there and I've done little different things to try to unglue myself and try to do something different. What have you done? I mean, if you've ever experienced that stuck moment, that moment that I can't move forward, if you have, can you share some tips on what you did to get out of that moment and say, um, I don't want to be here anymore in this moment, sitting in front of Netflix, eating popcorn and ice cream and gaining 50 pounds?
Yeah, I think all of us have gone through those bad times, right? And we just start thinking, well, what's next? And I think sometimes you just need to give yourself that time, to say, hey, I'm down. I don't know where to go now. Today I'm gonna just relax, think about what I can do next. What are the things that and I tell this to my family, what are the things that you enjoy doing? What are the things that make you happy? Because there are things, everybody says, well, you gotta find your passion. Find your passion and work on that. And people go, well, I don't know what my passion is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know what my passion is. What are the things that make you happy? What are the things that right now when you are down, when you're, just like you say, eating ice cream and watching Netflix, what are the things that are really gonna make me happy today? Today, not tomorrow, today. Maybe reading a good book, right? Maybe learning how to dance, maybe learning a new skill, maybe learning how to sing. If those things make me happy, well, do what make you happy. If
Love
learning new things make me happy, improving myself make me happy. So do the things that make you happy because you never know if your passion is going to be there on the things that make you happy today because we came to this world to be happy,
Mhm.
to make the best out of this opportunity that life has given us. So if you don't know what your passion is, well, what are the things I think we need to ask ourselves? What are the things that make me happy? And or maybe building connections make me happy. You never know when you talk to new people, what you're going to learn from that person. Every time that I talk to somebody new, I learn something new by asking questions, right? So asking questions to other people and saying, hey, what did you know that I don't know? What are the things that I can learn from you? How can I learn or how can I become the person that you are today? I think having a good role model is very important.
Mhm.
Find a role model and say, I want to be like that person.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna reach out to that person. And I'm gonna break the fear of not talking to anyone. And I'm gonna approach that person and say, hey, how do you learn to do that? How can I, do the job that you do? Can you tell me?
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'm telling you, great advice. I mean, for those that are out there listening, listen to Sylvia. She's speaking words of wisdom. Reach out, your community, find somebody that you would like to mentor under, learn from them, learn new skill sets. If you don't know what your passion is, figure it out by basically finding out what you love to do can lead you to knowing what your passion will be. What's the next step to do? What are you going to do next? You know, these are some really great nuggets that you're just dropping that people need to hear, especially what's happening in today's time. And I think we're in the month of celebration, in the month of where uh life force. I mean, because Latinos, we love to party, we love to dance, we love to listen to music, we love to eat, we love to break bread with our family, we love to be around community and being around people. And I just kind of wanted to ask you, talking about the celebration and everything. I mean, do you have like, what's your favorite food? I mean, no, this is a little silly question, but what's your favorite food, your song,
Oh my
or
gosh.
I mean, like, yeah.
I absolutely love tamales. My grandmother used to make the best tamales in the world. And when I have time, I make them. I make tamales myself. I love to cook. So mole is, I don't know,
Oh yeah.
some people don't know what mole is, but it's like this Mexican preparation that we make. We combine so many ingredients. I think there are like 25 different ingredients that go into mole, but it's like the Mexican barbecue, where we put the barbecue sauce either on the chicken or the beef, and it just tastes amazing. And
It's
it's
like
all
the
it's
Mexican
all
curry, like with the
yeah,
sauce and the
exactly,
chocolate and
with the
yeah.
chocolate, mixing chocolate with the different flavors of all these different peppers and this sweet spicy flavor that is just unbelievable. It's just
Mhm.
amazing. That's one of my favorite dishes. But I think that the enjoyment comes from creating, right? Being creative and putting all these dishes together and enjoying them and sharing with the family. It's really good. So, and there's a dish from my hometown in Puebla that is called chiles en nogada. It's like chiles rellenos with this
Mm.
Oh,
walnut sauce on top of it.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and then they garnish it with pomegranates and parsley. So, and it
Wow.
looks beautiful. It looks amazing. The ants, from the old days used to make this dish, and how they came up with this dish for
What's it called again?
Puebla. It's called chiles en nogada.
All right, put that on my list.
oh
Chiles
my
en
God.
nogada, and they have different fruits mixed with meat inside, and they're fried, and then you put this walnut sauce on top of it and garnish
Mm.
it with pomegranates. Oh, it tastes amazing. It's
See, and
Oh
really
my
that's the
good.
God.
thing a lot of people in Texas don't know is because it's so much Tex-Mex, all along Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. So it's like there's
Hmm.
such good food. The mole, that was my go-to back in El Paso. My mom makes
Hmm.
mole, my grandma made mole. It's like the good stuff.
Yes, yes. So this
Oh
is the
my,
time to celebrate. This is the time to make
Hmm.
all these amazing dishes.
it is. I did want to go ahead and ask you, since we're our podcast is called Life and In Between. And using that title of Life in Between, what does it mean to you? And when you think of that title, what does it mean to you when you have experienced your in between moment, your life and in between moment that you're current to, and what words can you share with our listeners in regards to that?
I think life in between, and in between means um, assessing yourself, assessing, you know, the opportunities that you have, and looking at your past and looking at your future, right? And look and thinking, okay, so I am whatever age you are, right? And this is what I still want to accomplish. And but I also want to look at the things that I haven't been able to do because I've always been working, right? Like I
Mm,
was thinking about it the other day. I've been working for the last 30 years. I want to travel more. I want to, you know, things do things that can make me a stronger person, a better person. So I'm working out every day now. I walk and I run and I exercise. And those are things sometimes I couldn't do that before because I was so busy before. But I'm doing that because this is my time. I'm in between. I'm being a stronger. I'm preparing myself for my next big opportunity. So
mm,
what are the things that I'm gonna do personally and professionally to be ready for my next big challenge and my next big opportunity. So life is giving me the time to assess myself physically and professionally. And I want to take that opportunity now to say, okay, I'm gonna be working out. I'm gonna be learning, maybe taking a new class, learning new skills, learning to invest my money, worrying about my finances. How can I manage my finances better? And what can I do for myself so I can create a better future for my family? I think it's a perfect time to assess all of those things and come up with a plan, right? Personally and professionally, so I can be ready for my next step. Because sometimes we get so busy, just work, 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 work,
mm.
and you don't take the time to evaluate yourself. Am I, you know, the person that I always wanted to be? Well, now is the time to do it. Is the time to look at myself, to improve my health, my eating habits, right? Which is important because that's what nourishes your body, your brain, to continue going. So now life in between giving you it is giving you that opportunity to improve your diet, to exercise more, right? And to come up with a plan and a strategy for your next move. That's what it means to me.
I love that. And it's like everything that you are just saying resonates with me because like I think you and I are simpatico right now at this point because when you were talking about I didn't have time to really take care of myself. So in my in-between moment, in this in-between moment that I have been in, I've been successfully being able to lose 76 pounds.
Woo!
76 pounds.
That
I
is
have been
awesome.
able to, I couldn't before because of my issues with my knee, my back, and because the weight wasn't helping much. So I put like my Spanish music down and I was able to dance 6.5 minutes without stopping. I was
What?
like, oh my God, I
That
did
is
six and a half
awesome.
minutes without stopping. And I was moving and I was doing my little salsa, I was doing my little moves, and I was just like, okay, I can do this. And so when you were saying all this, my gosh, it was filling my heart because like, I get you, Sylvia, because that's me right
That's what I'm
now.
talking about.
Hmm.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
And so yeah, so I hope our listeners can be saying the same thing too. And if they're not there, you can get there. Like that
Hmm.
is like so sometimes like when you're in that in-between phase, in between jobs, it's a blessing, like a blessing in
Hmm.
disguise, because sometimes it's talking about working on ourselves,
Hmm.
that self-improvement, that and it's beautiful. Because
Hmm.
otherwise I sit there, if I hadn't gone through what I'm going through right now, I wouldn't be 76 pounds less. I wouldn't be able to be doing all the things, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. And I love it. Like, I love it. I love having people like you, guests coming on. So, yeah, I love that. I love your answer because you and I are simpatico. Um,
Thank you.
so, I don't know, Patrick, I'm so sorry. I just hogged it up. Do you have any
No,
questions?
I'm feasting on everything y'all are dishing out here. So yeah, I think everything you're saying it's good. It's in I'm in that same world right now, just I've stepped away from full-time speaking, a lot of it coming from cuts and my biggest clients getting knocked off. They're no more. Their funding has been cut. So it's like, yeah, there's so much else out there. And something that you were saying that it's a little vulgar, but there's looking for your passion and the purpose. But recently I've realized what kind of ignited me was finding those things that pissed me off. And it was, I'm getting now involved in our son's PTA at school and understanding the politics of education and money, and the fact that Austin gives $900 million from our property taxes to other districts across the state. And I'm like, wait a minute, we can't even get our schools off the ground. So it's this whole thing that, had I not had this time to kind of reflect and be in that in between, I never cared about what happened in school politics. I was in and out of schools just doing my thing. But now that it's like I'm in this, I'm like, there's a lot of inequity. There's a lot of things that aren't right here. That pisses me off. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm getting involved now. So it's ignited a little fire. And I guess that pissing off is not my passion, because I'm like, no, because there's 12 schools that are almost going to get shut down in Austin, but there's a lot of things that are going beyond the school itself. And it's like, wait a minute, we live in a very low socioeconomic part of Austin, and I think it's because of that language barrier that a lot of people don't know what actually goes on. And that's why these things are happening, and they're just, I need modo, we'll find somewhere else because we're resilient. But it's like, no, you got to raise your voice, take up space, get involved. And I'm like, I'll be that one, that Karen now.
Yeah.
I'll step up and start batting away.
And I want to say something about that, right? All of us have to have emotions, right? We're humans. We will get upset about things, things that we cannot change, and there are things that we cannot control. But I think, and this is what I have learned, we have to channel our emotions and say, yes, I am upset. I am mad about this. This is injustice. This is bad. What are the things that I can do to change that? To
Mm,
take that energy, that negative energy that I have because it's making me upset, and catalyze and change that energy to contribute and to make a difference for this thing that I don't like. Like you were talking about, right? Maybe talking to a legislator and say, hey, I this is what I think, you know, the government should be doing, or talking to a representative or somebody that can make a difference and change that. And things don't happen immediately, right? And we have to be aware of that. Sometimes it takes a long time. But the fact that we are reaching out and talking to somebody to change those things that we don't like, help us to change that energy into something positive.
mhm. Change the narrative, change the
Ex-
story. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think, about anger management, right? Like, oh, that makes me so angry. I don't know what to do about that. So it's about understanding our emotions and saying, these are the things, this is the list of things that I can control. And here are the things that I cannot control. So should I spend a lot of time, worrying about what the government is doing and all these things and complaining about it all the time? Or should I just focus on the
Yes.
positive things that I can really change and that I can impact in my life,
Hmm.
instead of talking about how bad things are? Because if you focus on all the things that are bad, you can come up with a huge list of things that
Oh
are
yeah.
really bad in your life, right?
Never leave
And
the house.
yeah, you never leave the
Traffic.
house, and you never, you don't worry about the things that really can impact your life and can really make a difference in your life when you're just focusing all the negativity that is going on. And that happens a lot, I mean, in corporate America and everywhere. You can find negativity pretty much everywhere. And
Hmm.
if you really look for it, because you will find it.
Yep.
So I think it's worth thinking about, okay, here are all the things that are negative and which are the things that I can really control and that I can make an impact. And the things that I cannot control, I cannot change, I'm not going to invest my time on that. I'm going to invest my time on the things that I can really control, on the things that I can really make a difference. Because I hear all the time, right? People complain about the government, people complain about the economy, and that's an ongoing thing every day.
Mhm.
So
It's going to be like
am I
that
going to
every
allow
20
to
years.
that to consume me and just to absorb all my energy, or I'm going to take my energy and put it somewhere else?
Hmm.
And that's a choice because all of us
Right.
have choices, right? We have the choice to say, today I'm going to be happy and I'm going to focus on the things that are really going to help me, or I can put my energy and my effort into something that is nothing is going to come out of that.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. See, I love the way that the fact that, like, for example, Patrick is taking action. Like, otherwise, if he wasn't in between his moment, he wouldn't be aware of what's going on through the PTAs, and now he's taking action. And I love the fact that, Sylvia, you said take take control of that because he said he's pissed off. Take control of that negative energy and make action. Do it instead of sitting there and complaining, because we see so many people saying, and instead of taking action they complain about it, but
Hmm.
let's do something about it. And so yes, Patrick, you're the next Karen.
I'm taking it. I'm taking
Yeah,
it. And
taking
oh,
it and run with it. And I think those are the things that our listeners should really think about, because how do they make a difference? Like, if you're not happy, you know, when you were talking about all this, it reminded me when I was driving. For my birthday, I just recently celebrated birthday, and I wanted to go have Colombian food. And I
Happy
told my
birthday.
husband, let's go eat. Yeah, I said, let's thank you. And I said, I want to go eat Colombian food. So we went to this place, this Colombian restaurant, and it's in a place where the neighborhood is it's more inner city. And so we went there, and so my husband was noticing that the roads were very, you know, there were a lot of pot roads. The infrastructures were really kind of like run down, but the food is fabulous in this
mhm.
restaurant. I love it. Um, and I also like to give back to the community. I'm gonna go and give the community. Um, and so make a long story short, he noticed the differences in our roads. If there's a pothole in our road,
Mhm.
it's fixed. It's fixed immediately. Like, you just call it in, they fix it and all that. And it was one of those things, like, he was like, I don't understand. Why don't they have these roads? These roads have been like this for a long time. It looks like, you know. And I think it's because there are people that don't know where to go, and they have access and the voices. If you speak up and you take action, you can make a difference. But because of our conditioned culture of being
Mhm.
quiet, we don't allow it, and they can get away, and funds can be misappropriated. They don't
Just
or
be
get
grateful. Be grateful we
just be
have
grateful.
roads. Yeah.
Yeah, just be grateful. And so instead of saying and asking our elected officials, where's the money going to? I pay my taxes. This infrastructure should be worked on, and questioning those things. Because when you live in a more affluent area, you can't get away with that. Unfortunately, roads are going to be paved and fixed, you know, because people are saying, I pay good taxes. Where's the money going? And they get done. And so I think the moral of the story, I love what you said, is basically take action. Don't sit back and complain. Do our good deed and everything, and use the skill sets, and don't be afraid, and voice it. And the fact that you said all this, Sylvia, and having you here is amazing.
Thank
I
you. Thank
love
you for
it.
inviting me.
Yes, and so just one last quick wrap up as we do the closing and everything, you know, so we can encourage our listeners and everything. What is a one final word of encouragement, not word, but a phrase or sentence that you like our listeners to encourage them?
Never
What
give
would
up.
you? Yeah,
Keep trying, keep trying, and keep trying.
Hmm.
thank you
Believe in
so.
yourself. Believe in yourself because there is something special about you that nobody else has, right? We all were created different. And that's the most incredible thing about being human. We are all different. We're all unique. Look at your uniqueness and make the best out of it.
Love that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Boom,
Thank you.
boom.
Boo.
I love it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. And for our listeners out there, you can find us on social media. You can actually find us and I love to always pass the mic to Patrick on this because I feel like I hog it up.
Oh
So
no,
Pat,
I'm hungry. My workout just hit me, and I'm like, I'm so hungry now. But
yeah.
yes, I want to all our listeners. You know, this we do this for you, and we want to hear back from you. So you can find us on social media, Life and In Between Podcast. Pretty much, I think we're on every platform now, from Spotify to YouTube to iTunes and Apple. So find us wherever you get your podcast. Spread the word. Let your friends know. And stuff like this, share it. You know, because this is life. What Sylvia was sharing is life, and let's spread life, especially now with everything going on. Spread life. Viva. You know, this is Hispanic Heritage Month, but it's always Hispanic Heritage Month for us. So
Yes.
yeah, just
Yes.
represent and keep going and keep trying and trying and trying. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Sylvia.
All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being on. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.